Good morning, Klaudia. Hello.
Good morning, Thom.
Okay, we are on for our second edition of this new weekly European Business Services video series. I'm with Klaudia Archimowicz from VeritaHR. Thank you again for joining us and co-hosting this regular series, yeah?
My pleasure.
Okay, so for those of you who don't know me, my name is Thom Barnhardt, and we're running this European Business Services Association and a few related awards events. And I just want to go through some news stories, but first I'll just emphasize once again this very interesting project that SAIO, which is ING's new process automation brand, is doing. They're doing a complementary process automation project for any SSC that contacts them. They will look at it and consider doing a full implementation for free during the month of July. So if you guys have SSCs have projects, please let me or Szymek Lewicki know very, very quickly. And then one more thing, Klaudia, before we start on news, we also want to announce that we have been mandated by a buyer, an SSC or a BPO in Poland, who is keen to buy a SSC or BPO in Poland that's operating and working. They're looking for an existing operator, 30 to 60 people. They plan to then refresh it from an operational management perspective. And there's a budget of they've kind of allocated around 500,000 euros to 1.5 million euros for acquisition. So if someone has an SSC, BPO, or service center that is interested to be sold or to partner, please contact me. It's a relatively urgent request, and that would be great. So on to the first story. Klaudia, our first one is Chronosphere, which is expanding its very significant engineering hub in Vilnius.
Yeah, and the company expects to double its employee count in Lithuania over the next 3 years. They were founded in 2019 by Martin Mao and Rob Skillington, and Chronosphere is built on the open source M3 metrics engine created by the founding team when working at Uber. Developing Uber's cloud-native monitoring platform, the founders experienced firsthand the complexity and scale required to monitor cloud-native workloads.
Yeah, I mean, this is interesting because Chronosphere has expanded by 3 times their headcount, and they're VC backed. They raised $43 million funding. And they've got 60 employees worldwide. They're operating like many of the new, let's say the new companies. They've got a distributed workforce in Seattle, in New York, and in Vilnius. And they're expanding probably the quickest in Vilnius. Interesting to watch that story. Okay, next story is of TK Elevator, which is ThyssenKrupp, the big German elevator group. They've opened a new SSC in Budapest.
Yeah, named Solution Center Europe, it will provide selected finance and HR processes for the group's European and African operations. The company envisions scaling up to 70 employees within the first 12 months, with a prospective possible size up to 220 jobs over the following 2 years. So quite big number.
Significant number and big win for Hungary and Budapest. I'm sure that Poland and some other markets would like to have had ThyssenKrupp, big industrial German player, and Ingo Angermann, who is their Germany-based VP controller, will be overseeing the setup of the SSC in Budapest. So good luck and congrats to HIPA and to Budapest. Okay, the next story, we're going to talk a bit about Japanese companies looking at Tricity. And the reason is that Tricity has just released a research report or an article going through some of the new SSCs and other Japanese investors in Tricity. So I'll ask you to take a couple of words as well, Klaudia.
Yeah, the Tricity has developed a strong business services sector ecosystem in the last decade, attracting more and more foreign investment projects. Alongside the well-known US brands operating in the region, there is also a significant group of companies with Japanese origins.
Yeah, and I think some of those are guys that we all know, brands that are familiar with. Fujifilm is there, Nippon Seiki is there, Ricoh is there. One, which is the Ocean Network Express, they're a huge group. And I'm convinced that there'd be more and more Japanese investors looking at Pomerania. They do tend to go follow each other in a certain market. And we, in fact, are doing our next event for Japan investment in Central Europe on September 9th. And we do have a special focus specifically on SSCs investing from Japan. And with many of these Japanese companies have big manufacturing industrial operations in Western Europe, with back offices in Western Europe, but it makes no sense. And I think many of the Japanese have begun to shift those operations into Eastern Europe. And I think we're going to see a lot more of that. But on to the next story. Next story is Katowice. Katowice is in the news a lot lately, and they've just brought in Keyword Studios when they're going to hire 300 people there.
Yeah, they currently have 700 employees in Katowice, and they are working to provide functionality QA, localization QA, as well as player support to video games publishers and developers. And now Keyword is seeking to hire 300 additional player support and customer service specialists, as well as video game testers who share the passion for gamers, technology, and content to build better digital experiences for people throughout the world.
Klaudia, I don't know if you're in much of the gaming business, but man, the gaming sector is on fire. It's so big.
Yeah.
Yeah, incredible, surprisingly big. So this is a big win for Katowice, big expansion in the gaming business, but also Keyword Studios is rolling out essentially a SSC as part of it, with expansion into IT, HR, and finance and accounting. So that's also a big expansion for Katowice. Congrats, they're working hard. They've landed a lot of deals lately.
I'm really tempted to apply for the video game tester position, just like a part-time job. Yes.
Well, do it. I'm sure they'll be happy to have you. Okay, we're going to jump around to Romania. So ABSL Romania has just elected their new board of directors, and some of them are the same people from before, but there are also some new names. And if you would tell us a bit about that, please, Klaudia.
Yeah, and I apologize for any mistakes with the names, but I would like to say who will be representing the ABSL for the next 2 years. So it's going to be Cătălin Iorgulescu, General Manager and Partner at Deloitte Regional Audit Delivery Center. Ekaterina Ion, General Manager and HR Leader in Hungary and Romania at HP Enterprise Operations Center. Bogdan Pelinescu, General Manager at Luxoft Central Europe. Francesca Postolarke, Audit Partner at PwC Romania. Adrian Baron, EMEA ITSM Lead at Stefanini. Catalina Elena Crisan, Head of Operations Partner Romania at Unicredit Services SCPA. And Cyprian Dan, Timișoara Location Head for Vipro Technologies, was elected as a president of ABSL, and this is his second term in this position.
Yeah, so congrats to all the Romanians, and those are really kind of a blue chipper SSCs and BPOs in Romania, and they're now running the next year of the board for ABSL Romania, who has been very active in the market and growing pretty quickly. So congrats to them. Okay, next story. I think we've got one more. The kind of big news out of Poland. Poland has decided to make a bigger push into business service centers by lowering the threshold for government grants. And tell us a bit more about that, if you would, Klaudia.
Yeah, reduced market entry thresholds, a simplified qualitative assessment on investment projects, and a higher level of support in selected locations are the major changes in the government's grant program that could attract more business services investments to Poland.
Yeah, and previously the requirements were a little bit higher, so now they're lowering the requirements to, I think it was 250 jobs and 1.5 million zlotys investment. Now they're lowering that to be, there'll be support for those who hire only 100 people and investing only 1 million zlotys for the next 5-year period. So they're clearly trying to push out the support for shared service centers, but also beyond the bigger cities. They're going into more, I would even say, secondary or third tier cities now. It shows the awareness among the Polish government that the SSC sector is strong, that needs support, and that there's a big potential for the secondary and third tier cities in Poland. So it's a good timing. I think it's a good move for Poland as well.
Yeah.
So Klaudia, last thing I want to say, hey, we have on this, I guess this direction, we've got our charity beach volleyball. So this is a good chance, since it's summertime here, just to remind everyone, we are on in August for our 4 cities BSC charity beach volleyball tournaments. We kick off in Wrocław, and then Gdańsk, then Krakow, and then Warsaw. Klaudia, I think you and your guys will be there with the team. Are you talking about it? You going to join?
Yeah, probably.
Are you practicing yet? You're tall enough. Are you practicing
every day?
Okay. Look out. Here we go. Okay, cool. Okay, so we're on for one more week. In 1 week, we'll do back for this this next edition of this. So thanks again, second edition. And for those of you who are listening, please give us your feedback, your suggestions. We will adjust, we will improvise, we will improve it. We want your feedback and suggestions, as this is only our second edition. And Klaudia, thanks very much for your time today, and
Thank
we'll
you
see
very
you
much
next
for
week.
inviting me. See
Great,
you.
and see you next week. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.